SABC, together with the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, bring you the final verdict. In the pursuit of justice, we are all equal before the law. These are some of the stories that have led to the final verdict. Drinking and driving is one of the biggest threats to road safety in South Africa. Each year, thousands of lives are lost because people who are under the influence get behind the wheel and take their own lives and those of others into their hands.
We know the devastating effects of drunken driving in the high number of accidents and deaths on our roads.
Once one takes alcohol, it then affects your capability to control a motor vehicle. The fact that you are not in control of that motor vehicle and obviously has an impact on what you do when you're driving that motor vehicle.
It does not only affect the government, but there are people who lose their lives, and definitely it has got very far-reaching effects.
Daddy, wil nie kwaad wees sê ek het met 'n accident gehad. Daddy, ek is nie dronkie. Daddy, kom kry my net vandag asseblief. Ja, Daddy, die polisie sê, what do I do? Okay, ek bel hulle nou. Okay.
Good evening, ma'am. Is everything all right?
Yes, I'm fine, thank you.
You're not hurt or anything?
A bit bruised, but it's not anything serious.
It was your vehicle?
Yes.
And you were just driving it?
Yes.
You mind telling me what exactly happened over here?
A dog or something ran across the road, and then I swerved, but I saw the tree too late, and then everything happened really quickly.
Yeah. Where have you just come from?
A work function. I just got a promotion.
And I take it there was alcohol there?
Yeah, a bit.
Ma'am, have you been drinking tonight?
Well, I like 1 or 2 drinks.
The entire evening?
Yeah, I think so.
We're going to have to take you down to the hospital.
No, it's just a few bumps and bruises.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to check that blood alcohol of yours.
No, but you see, my dad is on his way here now to come get me.
Yeah, you can tell your father what happened. Once we've checked your blood alcohol level, he can come visit you later.
No.
No, not no.
But
I'm afraid there's no other option. We're going to take you in.
What? No, I think, Mr. Officer, can't we just like...
Don't resist.
No, but this is ridiculous. What about my car, huh?
Someone from the traffic department will tow it in later. Just get in the back of the vehicle.
Drinking and driving is a regular crime that comes into our courts. Many people get involved in this crime because they were saying, for instance, somebody might be saying, no, I was just at a party, I was just at a work function, I just took 2 glasses. But also because of, there's always a possibility that if I get behind the wheel, despite the fact that I was drinking, I'm not going to be caught.
When that person is arrested, he or she will be taken immediately within a period of 2 hours to the doctor in order to get a blood sample.
And it must be undertaken by a qualified person, by a machine that is not susceptible to tampering, so that we are quite convinced that the results are credible.
That process must happen within the period of 2 hours. So obviously the person must then be taken to the evidentiary center and his alcohol be drawn there and then be submitted and be sealed and be transmitted to a place where the alcohol contents can be checked.
Mevrou Marie, wat maak julle hier?
Engel, is jy alright?
Ek's fine, kry net uit hierdie plek uit.
Angela, ek's jammer, ons het slegte nuus vir jou.
Wat bedoel jy?
Jy word aangekla daarvan dat jy 'n oormaat alkohol in jou bloedstroom het.
Ekskuus?
Ons sal hof toe moet gaan.
Wat? Nee, maar hulle kan dit doen nie. Ek was nie eers so dronk nie.
Angela, asseblief, luister vir mevrou Marie.
Ek's bevrees die bloedtoets is uiters akkuraat en daar's geen manier dat jy kan beweer dat jy nugter was nie.
So nou wat nou, hè?
Angela,
Die beste ding wat jy kan doen is om skuldig te pleit.
Is jy mal? Ek gaan dit nie doen nie.
As jy skuldig pleit, kan die hof jou genadig wees. Ek's al deur 'n paar sulke sake en dis die enigste manier dat jy 'n ligte vonnis kan kry.
En wat as ek dit nie doen nie?
Dan sal hulle jou in die tronk sit en glo my, dis nie so gemaklik soos hierdie sel nie.
Damn it. Maar wat van my promotion? Ek moet Australië toe gaan. As ek skuldig pleit dan gaan ek 'n kriminele rekord kry.
The consequences of having a criminal record, you will understand the most challenging issue here in our country, unemployment. And it means, therefore, before you can get employment now, even in medium-sized companies, they will have to do security checks. And if maybe they find that you have a criminal record and they have more than 200 applicants for that particular position, there wouldn't be any point, practically speaking, there wouldn't be any point for them to come and try shortlist yourself when you have a criminal record, while there are people, lawful abiding citizens who do not have any criminal record.
Coming up, will Angela plead guilty at the risk of losing her promotion? We find out after the break.
You've learned your lesson. What if you had someone in the car with you, or you drove into another car?
But I didn't.
According to the National Road Traffic Act, no person who is on a public road may drive a vehicle or occupy the driver's seat of a motor vehicle with a running engine while under the influence of intoxicating liquor or a drug having a narcotic effect, or while the concentration of alcohol in their blood is above 0.05 grams per 100 milliliters. No person shall refuse that a specimen of blood or breath be taken of him or her.
The legal alcohol limit for a person driving a motor vehicle is 0.05 for ordinary drivers. Now, for professional drivers, that limit is 0.02 for professional drivers. Obviously, it translates into 1 glass of a wine that you take, because if you look at the contents, alcohol contents in that glass, it's plus minus 14. It depends on what type of alcohol you take. Some is 45% alcohol, the others is 14. Your normal pint beer is about 4 or 5%.
In a question of one driving under influence of liquor, it literally means the person's skill and judgment is impaired as a result of imbibing liquor or any intoxicating substance.
Angela, moenie worry nie, dit sal okay wees.
Ek kan nog steeds nie glo ek het skuldig gepleit nie. Wat as die vonnis nie uitwerk soos wat ons gedink het nie, hè?
Moenie so dink nie. Jy gaan alright wees. Kom, ons kan nie laat wees nie.
In the case of Angela, it was very wise for her to plead guilty because she would get favor at least from the court. If the state has got the blood sample confirming that you exceeded the limit stipulated by the statute, there is no defense indeed for you. You can't defend, and you are absolutely out, and it's better for you to show remorse and plead guilty immediately without wasting court's time. At least the court, from your conduct, can come to a conclusion that this person is indeed remorseful, and indeed that is a deterrent factor.
I submit that drinking and driving all too often goes undetected and is repeatedly ignored by the public. It is a serious and unlawful offense that causes many deaths every day. An example must be made of each person found guilty of such a crime as to deter the rest of the public from doing the same. If she is not severely punished enough, who is to say that this won't happen again? The accused may have hit a tree, but what if she had hit a car filled with innocent lives? Her plea of guilt and expression of remorse must therefore be assessed in the context of her being caught. Her remorse is therefore for herself for being caught, rather than a guilt for her misdeeds. With this, the state asks that the court imprison her for 3 months, her driver's license suspended for a year, and for her to undergo correctional supervision for 6 months after her license has been returned.
There's always a possibility that somebody may be harmed by the action of a drunk driver, or a person that is driving negligently, or a person that is driving with high alcohol concentration in his blood. So because of that potential, the court takes this very seriously.
No one can argue that drinking and driving is a grave offence, which many people take too lightly. However, mitigating and personal circumstances of the accused must be taken into consideration. Ms. Hendricks is a young woman and a first-time offender. She's never broken the law, nor has she ever been associated with unsavory characters. Throughout her life, she's obtained bursaries and scholarships in order to fulfill her dream of becoming a successful businesswoman, which she's well on her way to achieve. As a result, she has motivated and inspired many teenagers in her community to value their education and to work hard. If she were to be imprisoned, this would completely undermine all the work she's done with these children. However, on the night of the accident, Ms. Hendricks was celebrating a promotion. She was going to be flown overseas to start training. By pleading guilty, she knowingly has given up this opportunity of a lifetime and the respect that she's been shown by her peers. This clearly indicates signs of sincere remorse. Ms. Hendricks has agreed to be questioned to demonstrate to the court that she is indeed an upstanding citizen and that she genuinely regrets her actions on the night of the 3rd of April.
In certain instances, criminal offenses can affect a person's travel to various other countries. There are countries that have got restrictions to traveling from foreigners who have been convicted, for instance, of fraud or related crimes of dishonesty. And in the recent times, in particular with crimes that have to do with terrorism, the best way for the members of the public to be able to ascertain what sort of offenses and convictions are not allowed in various countries, such information can be obtained from various embassies and from various travel consultants.
Coming up, will the judge go lightly on Angela, or will the prosecutor get his way?
Far too many people have a blatant disregard for the law with regards to driving under the influence.
Ms. Hendricks, why should the court believe that you regret what happened?
I lost the one opportunity I had to really get my career off the ground. I worked really hard for it. But when my company found out about all of this, they took my promotion away, and I don't know if I'll ever get an opportunity like that again.
So, in a way, you've paid a high price already for what happened. Yeah. What would have happened if you hadn't been caught?
Well, for one thing, I'd still have my promotion, but my car's completely written off and I can't afford to pay insurance, so now I have to pay the bank for a car that I don't even have.
And how much do you pay a month for your car?
It's just under 1,000 rand.
And how much do you earn a month?
4,000.
I have no further questions.
Ms. Hendricks, how often do you go out at night in a week?
3 times a week.
Do you drink when you go out?
I'll have like 1 or 2 drinks, maybe a bit more if I'm with friends.
How do you get home?
Often I'll drive or I'll catch a lift with a friend.
Now, is it true that you told the police officer that found you at the scene of the accident that you'd had 1 or 2 drinks?
Yes.
But it turns out that you'd had a lot more than that in your system. So, evidently, this wasn't the first time that you drove home drunk. Was it? Was it, Ms. Hendricks?
No.
Now, how do we know that you won't do this again?
Well, I've learned my lesson.
You've learned your lesson. What if you had someone in the car with you? Or you drove into another car?
But I didn't.
But what if you had?
When the court is considering sentence, the interest of the public is taken into account. And one of the issues that you take into account in the interest of the public is the deterrence effect of the sentence. That means when the sentence is given, it must give an example to other would-be offenders in the society that it's actually not cool to do crime.
Dit is verskriklik. Ek kan nie die gewag hanteer nie.
Jy sal nie deurkom, my engel. Ek weet jy sal.
Papa weet nie hoe dit voel nie. Ek het 'n dom fout gemaak en ons alles opgemors.
Jy weet nie dit nie. Die regter kan jou genadig wees.
Papa het gehoor wat sê die aanklaer. Wat sit net 'n boom was nie, hè? Die duil moes my daai aand in lug gevang het. Wat as hy in die kar was? Ek sal myself nooit kon vergewe nie.
Jy gaan nie deurkom, my engel. Ek weet jy sal.
Hou vir my duim vas.
Voorspoed. Dit sal reg wees. Ek beloof jou.
All right.
Many people, innocent people on the road, they lose their lives as a result of people who are driving their vehicles while having taken alcohol, or some of them are under the influence of intoxicating substances. The sentence is quite very harsh. There can be a huge amount of fine coupled with imprisonment, direct imprisonment.
The magistrate have that discretion to determine whether, in terms of the circumstances surrounding that particular individual, whether it would be appropriate to impose the suspension or the cancellation of the driving license. However, from the Department of Transport side, we value the cancellation as this, and the suspension of the driving license as being the appropriate sentence that the magistrate may impose on a person that have been found to have committed the alcohol limit laws.
I agree with what the state says about drinking and driving. Far too many people have a blatant disregard for the law with regards to driving under the influence. To date, many innocent lives have been unnecessarily lost, and it's a constant battle this country fights every day. However, Ms. Hendricks isn't responsible for injury or death of anyone or damage to private or government property. She has admitted that she has made a mistake, and I believe she has already paid a high price for her actions and indeed regrets what happened. Also, by pleading guilty, she has saved the court a lot of time and resources. She cannot be held responsible for everyone who has broken the law. To imprison her for her crime is hardly justifiable, and I don't believe she poses a threat to society. I will, however, suspend her driver's license for 6 months and issue a fine of 7,000 rand, 4,000 rand of which is payable up front, and the remaining 3,000 can be paid over the next 2 months. correctional supervision is not necessary. But I will warn Ms. Hendricks that if she were to be found guilty of a similar offence, the court will not be as lenient next time round.
A person who has been convicted of certain criminal offences may make written application to the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development to have their criminal record expunged. 10 years must have passed since the conviction and sentencing, and the applicant must not have been convicted of another offence and sentenced to imprisonment during those 10 years.
You need to complete an application for expungement and attach the clearance certificate from the Division of the South African Police, which is Criminal Record Center, and send it to Department of Justice. 10 years should have elapsed since the last conviction. And the person must not have been convicted to a direct imprisonment, and the fine must not exceed amount of 20,000 rand. And then you will apply for a new police clearance certificate. Then will be clear. Then the benefit is that when you apply for a job or some other things which doesn't need you to have a criminal record, then you can be successful. The Director General of Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, once he or she approve that the record in question should be expunged, then will notify the Criminal Record Center to remove the record in question. And the Criminal Record Center will notify the applicant that the record in question has been expunged.
It starts as just simple drinking and driving, having your blood alcohol content beyond what is required by limit, but actually drinking has got grows into other levels and leads to other types of criminal offenses. I think it's important as a country that we actually become intolerant for all forms of crimes.
To apply for expungement of a criminal record, you must first obtain a clearance certificate from the Criminal Record Center of the South African Police Service. The certificate will show that a period of 10 years has passed since you were convicted of the crime. The certificate must be attached to your application to the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. The completed application form and certificate must be posted or delivered by hand to the following address: Director General, Justice and Constitutional Development, Private Bag X81, Pretoria, 0001, Momentum Center, 329 Pretoria Street, Pretoria. The final verdict was brought to you by SABC together with the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development.